My name is Darren Sadge, and I am very excited about being here today and being with all of you. To start with, I'd like to just take a few moments to sort of relax and settle in and get comfortable here. Just kind of let your body relax and do some breathing. I think doing some deep breathing often helps. It'll help me for sure. So we'll just take a couple of deep breaths. So breathe in deep and breathe out long. And breathe in deep and breathe out long. Great. So I'd like to start out with just asking you a few quick questions. One would be, would you like to have a little more passion in your life? Does that sound a lot of head nodding? Yeah. How about a little more peace? Yeah. Certainly it was something that I was wanting to experience. And contentment. How about contentment? Yeah. It's probably the one that was the biggest for me was love, and it was unconditional love, and that's a whole new animal. You know, the unconditional love that we can experience is quite remarkable. So that is what today's program is going to be about. I had an experience back in 1988. And it absolutely transformed my world. It was an awakening experience that really rocked my world, and it was in a very, very positive way. So all the things I'm talking about, I was experiencing, and much, much more. So I'm really, pleased to be able to share my story with you and give you an opportunity to also awaken into that experience. What I found over the last 30 years is that I did have this ability to awaken others into this experience, and I knew it wasn't me, Darren Sadge, but I could be a vehicle for this transforming energy to shift and awaken others. And it was like, wow, because for me, it was life-changing. And so if I could help other people awaken into that experience, it was going to be, incredibly exciting for me, and hopefully also for you. So kind of back up just a minute. Have you ever, asked yourself the question, why am I here? What is this life all about? Who am I? I mean, some of the really bigger questions. And I believe without any doubt that we're here. We're here to know who we are. And at the deepest level, is our divine nature. And that may sound like, wait a minute, what are we talking about here? But when I say awaken, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about waking up to this present that's within you, and it's always been there. It was there within me, but I didn't know it. It was just like it's potential, but until the light goes on, you don't know it's there. It's like if this room was completely dark, you could have beautiful furniture and paintings and all these kinds of things, but until somebody turned on the light, it's like, so what? And so what happened, my so what, was I met a meditation master from India, and this was, 31 years ago. And the idea behind it is that when you come into contact with somebody who is an enlightened being, that their light can light your light. You can have this, it can be dormant within you, and I believe that it really is, but until you're awakened to it, it's like, what? And I would have said the same thing. I mean, I was like, oh, this just can't happen. And yet it happened. And it was like, it was like that. It was just immediate. And it was this incredible shift from a sense of scarcity and a sense of not enough and always wanting to do better and be a high achiever. And I was very successful in that world. And yet it really wasn't what I was looking for, searching for. And when I came into the presence of this being, the lights went on, and it was like, oh my God, what I'm searching for, I've always been searching for, is right here. And it's deep within me. And it's within, I know if it's deep within me, it's deep within you. I don't have any question about that. Like when I had the experience, sometimes you have like, well, is this for real? All those questions just went into this space, dropped into this space of, yeah, it's for real. And there was absolute certainty. And it was so amazing. It was like what I'd always been looking for was right here in front of me. But I wasn't experiencing it. But when you awaken to that, you can't experience it. You can't experience that. And what I found over the last 30 years is that that's something that I can do for other people. And I'm clear that it's not me. I'm clear that I am a vehicle for that energy to be transferred from me into you in a way that can awaken you. And at the end of this program, we'll actually do a meditation that's designed for that, to take you from wherever you are. And I know probably for many of you folks, I mean, you're already on the path. You guys got many steps ahead of most everyone out there. And people have spontaneous, I don't know what your experience is, so you may have had, spontaneous awakening experiences. People that have near-death experiences, that's one of the things that really wakes up a lot of people. And all of a sudden they go, wow, there is this divine energy within me. And it's beyond our normal concept, beyond what we can actually think about. So it is in this world of pure consciousness or awareness. And you don't have to learn anything. You don't have to learn a thing. You just have to wake up into this experience of who was already there. And when it happens, it's like, wait a minute, how can this be? How can everything I was looking for be here, and not just be here, but be here fully? Probably one of the most powerful parts of that is an experience of unconditional and unlimited love. I mean, when that happened, it was like, wow, because before I'd always been looking to perform, looking to somehow be accepted and doing everything, the right way, and performing for teachers and coaches and parents and I think also for myself. It's like somehow I have to earn this. It's like going out in the world, and I was a very successful dentist for 47 years, and I had a beautiful family, and everything. I mean, if you look at my life, it's like I had everything going on. I had money that I could, help with my kids and their education and all the things that money can bring. But that wasn't it. There was still this nagging sense of there's more, and for sure there is. And it's like right underneath it's like right here, but we can't see it. So that's the reason for this awakening, and why I'm, very excited about the opportunity. If I can be a part of that, that is the most important thing I can give to you. And it feels like to me also, because it's when I give that gift, it comes back to me in such powerful ways. It's this whole thing about when you give love, then you get more back, the giving and receiving. So I'd like to just give you a little bit of background and then some summary about where we're going to go, and in the talk today. I'll give you a historical background, what my life was like, prior to this awakening, and what the awakening was like, how that happened. And then I'll be talking a little bit about what's the significance of that. How did it change my life? And as you can probably tell, it was pretty dramatic. It was very dramatic. And then after that, we'll look a little bit about, how once you do that, how do you hold on to it? It's one thing about knowing this and experiencing it, but now what? How do you hold on to this? How do we maintain this? And that can be a challenge, that's for sure. But I will also kind of go through some a little bit of what we call an activation, or a way for you to kind of step into this sense of staying with this experience. So I think that'll be helpful for you. And then at the very end of the program, I'll actually be doing a guided meditation. And in that guided meditation, it'll be about a 20-minute meditation, but I will be guiding you into your own awakening experience. As I mentioned before, I'll be serving as a vehicle for that transforming energy. And then we'll see what happens. I'll share a little bit later some of the experiences that people have had that I've worked with, and it's been quite remarkable. And so to begin with, I grew up in a small western Colorado town, and I was one of those kids that was the overachiever, always wanted to do everything for everybody and making sure that I was the very best, and I was really very, very good at it. I don't know if any of you can relate to that. Certainly was my MO, and that was the way I got acknowledged. And I want to tell a kind of a quick little story about sort of my way of perceiving of the world. And it's about, my mom would tell this story about my brother and I have a twin brother. And when we were sitting on literally in the crib together, he would be on one end and I'd be on the other. And I would be picking up these crumbs and putting them in a little pile, just this neat little pile. And as soon as I had them all organized there, he'd reach over and, knock them down, and they'd go all over. And then I would do the same thing all over again. But it was sort of my nature. Nature was to be very meticulous and sort of this perfectionist kind of orientation. So things always were, in a lot of ways, not good enough. There was, I want to tell you one other story that's kind of gives you an indication of how extreme I carried this whole sense of perfectionism. And I can remember I was out shooting baskets, and if you know anything about, basketball, what you want to do is hit, if you're shooting free throws, you want to get 10 out of 10, 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. That's not quite good enough. So I'd get more and more frustrated as I was shooting these baskets. And it just so happened where I was, where the basketball court was right next to this doctor's office. And so I would get more and more frustrated. Pretty soon I would be yelling profanities. I'd be like, so the nurses would call my mom and say, we got to do something about this kid. He's irritating all of our patients in here. But it was just a demonstration of how far I carried that. It was ridiculous that I wanted to be, that perfect. But that's how I, viewed things. Went on and graduated from high school. I had lots of accolades, lots of honors. Went on to college, graduated from college, met my wife when I was in college, and then on to dental school. And so I went to dental school and then graduated from dental school, and then came back to my hometown to practice dentistry. And practice went very, very well. I was very, very successful from any standards that you would look at. I had a great practice, lots of patients, and and the finances to support and do almost anything we wanted to do. So it was, if you had looked at my life from the outside, and when I go back and reflect on that, I'm going, wow, what's wrong with this? You've got this beautiful wife and children and career and money, and you can do all these things, but it was still like there's something missing. It's almost like, well, you spoiled brat. What's the big deal here? I mean, you got it all, and you're saying, well, but there's more. But there was something that was driving me that said, yeah, there's more. And so I think that yearning really brought the opportunity for me to meet this meditation master or teacher from India. And how that happened was a friend of mine had been going out to this ashram in New York, and she said, when I come back, I'll bring something back for you to look at if you'd like to, see what this is all about. And it just kind of resonated with me, so I thought, yeah, what the heck. So she brought back this magazine, and it was about this saint's tour of the United States. Her name was Guru Mai, and she was touring the United States in 1982. And when I got this magazine, I opened it up, and there's this huge picture of this Indian saint, and it's like, whoa, who is this being? I mean, I couldn't get that face out of my mind, so I found out that I had about a week to see her, and then she was going back to India. I mean, thinking, I don't know how this is going to work. But in a few days, I was on an airplane, and I'm flying out to South Fallsburg, New York, in the Catskill Mountains to this Indian guru's monastery or ashram. And I'm thinking, what in the world have you done? I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, I'm this left-brain dentist, that's very, very traditional, scientific basis. Everything that's how I understood my world. And yet here I am flying out to meet this meditation guru. It's like, no, that makes no sense. And it didn't. But here I was. I got on the airplane, I'm flying off to South Fallsburg. And I remember looking out the window. I was looking out the window of the airplane, and it was like, you're going home. And the tears are running down my face, and I'm going, wow, what is that all about? And yet it was very, very clear, and in my, I could feel the sense of literally going home and wondering, wow, what's about to happen? What's this all about? So I arrived at the ashram probably 10, 11 o'clock that night, and wanted to, just get some rest because I was exhausted from the long day. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up, and I'm just like wired. I mean, there's energy just pouring out of me. It's like I can't sleep, so I might as well get up and check things out. So I head downstairs and start looking around, and found out where the farewell program was going to go, or where it was going to be. And I needed to travel to another part of the ashram, and so I had to get on a bus to do that. And as soon as I got on this bus, man, that's when it hit me. All of a sudden, I'm just like this bliss that I can't, and it's to this day I can't really explain, but it was just pouring over me and pouring through me. And it was like, wow, it's like, what in the world is this? But there was, as I mentioned before, this absolute certainty that this is what I'd always been looking for. And it was here. It wasn't something it was something I could awaken to and understand very, very profoundly. But everything, like the love, the peace, the joy, was fully present in that experience. It wasn't about performing that I had thought I had to do before. I had to perform to be acknowledged, to do well, to make money, to have money, and then do other kinds of things. It's like, this is a whole new world. This is a world where you come fully equipped. You come with everything that you were searching for. It's like, what? How can that possibly be? But I know from my own experience that if that's in me, that's in you. And so that certainly precipitated my wanting to know how can I share this. And so that's that's certainly what what we're about today, is to learn how to share that. When I came back from the from the ashram, I was like, I made Billy Graham look pale. I mean, I was grabbing everybody and anybody that would talk to me and saying, "You've got to do this. I mean, this is it. This is the ultimate." It was the ultimate prize, and there wasn't any question about that. It was like, this is the gift. There's nothing bigger, higher, better, more profound than this. So come on, get on the bus or get on the plane or whatever it's going to take. But I wanted to drag everybody in, including my kids. So, and most people, quite frankly, were a little overwhelmed. It was kind of like, what happened? What kind of drugs was this guy taking? Because I knew I was over the top, but I was so excited about it, and I knew that, this is the answer, or at least it felt like it was for me. Maybe it could be for other people. And as it turned out, my daughter and my kids really embraced it. My wife was like, not so much. It really wasn't her thing, and we understood that. But she was very, very supportive about allowing the kids to go to this ashram in the summertime and spend time there. So that would be a lot of our, like our summer vacations. But the one thing I think, I'll get it here, that I really want for you guys to understand and to get. And is this unconditional love and the unlimited nature of that. Not too long ago, I had this thought that came to me that there's enough love in every human heart for the entire world. And I thought, whoa, come on, wait a minute. I'm talking about Darren Sadge has enough love in his heart for the whole world. But I realized that it's not me. We're talking about divine presence within me. And that divine presence does have enough love for everybody, for you, for me, for the whole world. And it was almost laughable to then think, well, there's scarcity, but what if I'm going to use mine up and then there won't be any left over? Well, that was just like a joke. It's like, really? Because every time I experienced or shared that love, more love came rushing in. It's like, whoa, I like this game. I mean, this is incredible, but it was absolutely true. So what I want you to understand or get a sense of is literally how powerful that is, and that is that divine presence within you, and you can awaken into that experience. And certainly for me, it was life changing. It's kind of like the old song, about looking for love in all the wrong places. You got it. You are it. That's what's just wild about this. You don't have to go any place to get it. Really, what you do now is you share it, because why not? You're not going to run out. There's no scarcity. At the same time, when I had this thought, I had this vision, literally this vision of this enormous black space with all this sparkly sky in it, and what it was the infinite nature of that love. It just went on and on and on and on. It was, it was like, wow. It was a mind bender, that's for sure. But it's pretty sweet to understand that's innate within all of us. And then we can share it and not worry about, whether there's enough, because there's enough. I can guarantee you that. What I wanted to maybe help you guys with is how do you hold on to this? Because once you experience it, it's very, we want to be able to maintain it. And it's one thing and I've talked to a lot of people who have some really phenomenal experiences, but then it's like gone. And then there's no, place to land in that experience. And one of the things I've noticed is that if you can watch your thoughts, if you can kind of observe what's going on with your thoughts, that immediately separates you from the thought and into an awareness So there's the awareness that's watching the thoughts, and then there are these thoughts. And the world that you want to step into is that world of awareness, or that world of consciousness. And it's beyond the mind. It's what's actually watching the mind. Eckhart Tolle has a wonderful way of understanding that. I don't know if you've got some head shakes there. Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite teachers. But he says, in the beginning, or the beginning of freedom, he says, is the understanding or the awareness that the realization that you're not the thinker. And the moment you start watching the thinker, then a whole another level of understanding comes forward. He says all the things that truly matter, love and peace, creativity, joy, arise from beyond the mind. So what I've noticed is it's really helpful, like even during the day, sort of just pay attention to your thoughts. Because as soon as you do that, you've made this separation. You've created this separation. Now there's where do I want to go? Do I want to follow the thoughts, or do I want to stay in this awareness? And for my money, I want to stay in the awareness because I'm home. And it sounds pretty simple, but it can be very, very profound. Something else a lot of people use is meditation. And I think the reason for meditation, why it's prevalent within every culture and every spiritual practice, is that it's about stilling the mind. And what we're doing, like we're doing with practicing watching thoughts, is you're actually transcending it or getting behind it. And once again, that's where we have this feeling of peace. So just think about, when you step into stillness. So you've probably heard the phrase, "Be still and know I'm that. Know I am God." Well, that's because in that stillness, that presence just naturally comes up. It's there. It's one more time we're not aware of because we're not still to see it. Because we get so much of the time involved with our thoughts and feelings, and we identify with that. But that's not who we are. So that primary question, like, who are we? Well, I'm convinced that we are that consciousness, and we are that pure soul essence. And that's where we want to stand. We want to step more and more into that. So some of the other exercises, like even in meditation itself, one of the things is watching the mind. That's what a lot of people do that meditate. And another is breathing. When you take those deep breaths, like when we started the program today, it's just when you relax your body, then the idea is that also relaxes your mind, and you start to step into that deeper space of consciousness or awareness. So those are just a few things that you can do, I think, that are helpful. What I'd like to kind of probably move into now is the experience. We'll actually do this meditation. It'll be about 20 minutes long. And prior to that, I would like to share with you a few experiences that some people had that I've been working with and doing this meditation. And they've been kind of like they're like all over the board. And they seem unique to each individual. It's like, what is it? How do you visualize or experience your that higher self or that higher reality? And many of them seem to be related to light, sense of holding these enormous sense of balls of light in their hands, or shafts of light. Or one woman talked about these waves of light, these multicolored lights that they just kept coming and coming, and she was bathed in that sense of her wholeness and her peace. Part of that, the underlying theme, much of the time is a sense of wholeness and peace, and this stillness, and that I'm okay. Just the way I am. I don't have to go anywhere to get anything or do anything. It's like this divine presence is within me, and when I settle into that, I know that, and I can experience it. I had one woman talk about feeling this light energy that was like coming into, or a conscious energy that was coming into her body, and she had this heart issue, but it felt like it was moving in there and expanding and healing, and So that was quite remarkable. But I think the best thing is just to not hold any expectations about what's going to happen, and just let whatever happens, because it appears to be dramatically different. One of the things that was most exciting for me was the people that I'd done multiple sessions with were starting to have some pretty major shifts in their relationships. One was this woman talked about that she literally hated her father, and her father was this alcoholic and very abusive man. And since we were doing these sessions, she said, I realized that my father had taught me about nature. He taught me about nature, and the love of nature that I now experienced was through him. And prior to that, that was just not even in her awareness. She didn't have any sense. She had no relationship with him. And since then, they have positive conversations, and it was a pretty major shift in how she related to her father. So that I thought that was really great. Another thing was her mother. Her mother was very, very critical and always judgmental about almost everything that she did. And she said she still does it, but it doesn't seem to affect me anymore. I can just let it roll off because I'm identified with something deeper than that. I'm identified with who I am, and who I am is whole. I don't need that acknowledgement. There was another gal talked about. It was kind of fun to listen because it was her everyday experience with everybody that talks about how horrible the world is and all this stuff, the horrible things that are going on. And her husband and her mother were like that, and yet now they would get into these discussions, and she'd just be kind of like, "Oh, that's cool," but not attached because she didn't have to fight anything. She felt fine the way she was, but she could also just let them be, which was pretty remarkable. It was. So those were some of the kinds of things that happened that I was really pleased with, because you see those kind of shifts and loving shifts in relationships. It's quite remarkable. So what I'd like to do now is we'll do a short meditation. It'll be about 20 minutes long, and like I mentioned before, what I'll be doing is really holding that energy, or that sense of that being acting as a vehicle for that energy to awaken you into the experience of your own divine nature. And then at the end of the program, we'll get a chance to share your experience if you'd like to do that, and also maybe answer any questions you may have about what happened in my experience, and what you might expect in the future. So we'll begin with just finding a comfortable upright position where you can find yourself steady and put your feet flat on the floor. I will wait for just a. So begin with taking a deep breath. So breathe in deep and breathe out long. And breathe in deep and breathe out long. Just begin to scan your body for any areas where there's tightness or tension. Just let those go. Let those relax. Let's begin by relaxing the muscles in your neck and your shoulders, your arms and hands, and your back and chest. your legs, and feel your feet grounded into the floor. Just feel the weight of your body in the chair. Now begin to watch the thoughts. Just watch the thoughts like clouds passing through the sky. And pay more attention to the blue sky, that deep, spacious blue sky that's behind the clouds. If you want to, you can take the image of a stone dropping into a lake. Just allow it to slowly, very slowly drop down into the bottom of the lake, into this still, steady space. Just notice if any thoughts come up. If they do, just bring yourself back to watching those thoughts. And then just let them go. And just allow yourself to glide into that deep stillness and meditate. I want you to take some time coming out of meditation. Take a few deep breaths. Begin to feel your body coming back into the space of the room. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Get some great smiles back there. So how'd everybody do? Anybody want to share their experience?
Like a wave?
It just kept coming, and surprisingly, I barely had a thought.
Surprisingly, you barely had a thought. That's pretty good stuff. Oh, great.
But then I would jump out of the noise.
You hear the noise back here, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I still feel like I'm vibrating.
Yeah, me too.
What's that?
I feel like it's still vibrating.
Still vibrating? Yeah. Cool. Did you want to share it?
Just same blissfulness and really, I feel more energetically aligned, more calm, more peace.
Sweet. Yeah, that's that's great. Good stuff. Anybody else? Yeah.
My body was quivering, and then something hit me on the back, pushed me forward 3 times. But I was very much aware of the white light surrounding me.
Wow. Great. That's good stuff. It's so amazing because it seems like so unique to each individual, which I think is how it's supposed to be. It manifests in a way that speaks to you. It's funny. A lot of people, feel the lights and that sort of thing. My feeling, I'm more kind of kinesthetic. I feel this intense love sometimes to the point where I just can't really keep together, as you may have noticed a couple of times, when I kind of lose it, because it's so much a feeling for me. But everybody's unique, and that's what's fun too, is listening to all the different stories and how this manifests for people. So
I felt,
yeah.
well, I wasn't meditating, well, I guess maybe I was sweeping for the room one time. I was sweeping.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden, my body just started like, and then I just tears, and everything, it was just tears. I was looking around, and I was just like this, like I was crying, but it was just happiness. It was just like a flood of just like it was just like electricity coming right through my body, and all of a sudden I was just like, and just tears rolling down my face.
Sweet.
From sweeping.
Sweet. There's a teacher that uses the phrase, every day take a broom and sweep your heart. And it's a little bit like, what a wonderful way to start your day. I think, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people meditate on a daily basis. It's a good way to just begin your day and clear things out, start fresh. Because certainly there's enough stuff that keeps kind of bombarding in during the day. I still notice at times, I can be really in great shape till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it's like, whoops, sort of what happened. But I think when I reflect on it, it has a lot to do with the fact that we are bombarded by a lot of negative energy, and sometimes it's hard to kind of keep our heads above water. But we can always go back to the tank. You can always go back and refresh yourself with, watching thoughts or do it, or the meditation. I mean, it's a reason why meditation is so, commonly practiced. So yeah.
I have a
Yes.
question.
Sure.
When you're meditating and you don't really, how can you tell when it's messages coming from the divine versus your
Yeah, that's a great question.
thoughts? Because sometimes I don't have any thoughts and all something things just flood in and I
Mm-hmm.
go, am I
Mm-hmm.
controlling it or are these messages I'm supposed to hear?
Well, I would say my sense of it is that if it's flooding in, it's like you're not like controlling it. And another thing is that usually it really resonates with you as your truth. It's like that just feels right, And so that's what I would trust. And it seems like the more you do it, the more you practice it, the more familiar it becomes, and it seems like just like trust your gut, trust your heart. Don't necessarily let this, because this is pretty tricky. it'll start trying to figure it all out, and then for me, I'm kind of lost at that point. I'd much rather stay in the experience. But yeah, it's a great question. Yeah.
I was thinking that I would say I'm pretty new at this.
Uh-huh.
And I still often see purple, and then deeper purple, maybe pulsations.
Uh-huh.
And then the thoughts that are going through my head, I'm trying to open up every single, I would call it eclairs, to see if there's any clairvoyance, clairaudience,
Uh-huh.
that's coming in. And is pretty much all I ever see is that purple pulsing. And it's very slow, and then sometimes it starts getting towards the end of the 20 minutes. It started getting deeper purple.
Mm-hmm.
But that's common, and I usually meditate before I go to sleep at night, and that's what I see.
That's what you see. Yeah.
That's what
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That makes me giggle because all you see is the divine purple of the infinite. That's it. That's pretty powerful.
No, not really.
I see purple all the time.
Anybody else? Anything? Well, this has been an incredible privilege. You guys are shining lights. I remember Baba Muktananda used to say when people came in front of him, what do you see? And he said, I see light. And so when he looked over there, that's the core essence of what he saw in each person. And I noticed that once I came back from this very powerful awakening experience, that I felt like everybody was my soulmate. That this whole thing about, finding your soulmate, guess what? We're all each other's soulmates. And when you look into another person's eyes and look beyond their story, so whatever's going on, and whatever it is, man, there's a place where we can all connect. And that is the deep space of that divine love, a deep space of truly knowing who we are. And man, it's a trip. It just feels like what we should be doing is just all holding hands and skipping down the road together for no reason other than life's a trip. It starts feeling like, we can come to this world whole and complete. The fact is, we are. And that's where there's this paradigm shift, and instead of out there trying to get someplace, you already are someplace. If you can come here into this present moment, it's all right here. Where else are you going to find it? Where else is there other than this present moment? So, good place to look. And it's an exciting time, my God, to be here on this, on this planet with all the changes that are happening. The programs here, my gosh, the opportunities to expand your awareness way beyond anything. I mean, a year ago, not a lot of this didn't make any sense, and now it's kind of like, this is really amazing. I mean, it's a whole nother world, and it's so much bigger and vaster, and the potential is incredible. It's incredible. And knowledge and understanding and treating each other with love and respect and joy and stepping down the road together. You know, whatever that means for you. Did you have a comment?
I have a question. So you said you awakened in 88.
In 1988, yeah, it's like 31 years ago.
Okay, so when did you awaken? Were you, and you said you're a dentist.
Yes.
I'm an attorney, but I'm very dissatisfied with my
Uh-huh.
level of work. But were you given a purpose? Did you know what you had to do at the time of your awakening, or was that like throughout the years that you discovered?
Yeah.
Or life turned upside down?
No, that's a great question. Well, first of all, primarily what my purpose was literally to awaken, is to know this and to experience directly, not intellectually, or like you hear say, well, you know, find this divine presence or God within you. It's like, yeah, it's nice. It's like, that's a real deal. And so that's primary. Primary, it feels like that's why we're all here. We're all here to finally know that deep presence within us, this God essence presence within us. And then secondarily, what I've discovered and what Ethan helped me with was, well, what's my gift? Well, yeah, what my gift, and it's almost a little bit like, are you sure? I mean, but it is. What I'm discovering is that I'm here to be a vehicle for this divine grace to move through me and to support other people in awakening and knowing who they are. And man, I'll tell you, as I explained, it's the ultimate prize. It's like makes everything else kind of like a joke. Like what? I mean, what is it? What's it all? Money, fame, fortune? Really? Are you kidding me? How long does it last? Look at the professional football players, basketball players that have all this money, all this acknowledgement, and it's always about the next game, the next career, the next award. They win a Super Bowl, you got to win two. Or I've got to be the MVP, or I've got to be da-da-da-da-da-da. It's like, whoa, it's never going to end until it does. Until all of a sudden you realize, are you kidding me? I'm sitting on all this. Right here, right now. What's wrong with this moment? Not a thing. I mean, it's just incredible. It almost feels like, it's like, I feel like I'm just walking around in this toyland thing, kind of, because it's sort of like life's worth it. Right now, whatever you're doing, just be there. You know the whole thing about Zen and just being here? Well, there's a reason for that. Because if you're just here right now, it's a trip. It's like, it just comes bubbling up. You know, I'm not chasing it anymore. I'm not trying to perform or trying to get it. I got it, and so do you. We just need to awaken to that and then start living more that way. That's part of it, too. It's like, really? Because I'll forget. And I'll get all trapped up in my mind and I need to do this or I need to do that. And then I have to just remember to start, you know, like I talked about before, watching the thoughts or finding a way to move beyond and outside the box. Because that's an incredible place. The potential there is enormous. Just, well, I mean, I'm excited. Real excited for the opportunities for all of us. You know, so I'll just have a big hug fest, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, it's good to be alive, and it's great to be here with you guys. And wow. Namaste. God bless.
I just wanted to say, meeting you last year and seeing the shift and the change was quite profound. And it's great. I don't care what your daughter said about you today. I wanted to, honor you for that.
Thank you.
That's big, man. It's been great to sit
Yeah,
in and share your story.
It's really been quite a ride for me too. It's like, what? Did this really happen? Kayla told me a little bit about this timeline shift and what's going to, and it's like, oh really? Well, who is this guy, Darren Sadge? And yet he's real. It's like, it's like, this is not make-believe anymore. This is what I'm here to do. And hopefully that it's landing in some way. Because even just to be a little part of that, if I'm just starting the process, man, that just feels like I'm doing some really special work. And it's such a privilege. Michaela.
I just walked in at the end, so I've only been here about 15 minutes maybe, but I just want to comment on the energy that you're transmitting right now. And I don't know if everyone in the room can feel it. It's just really palpable. I mean, it's bringing me right into the present moment. And I didn't realize it until just about a moment ago where, you know, to be here at this expo and be doing all these things, your mind is usually going to what's going to happen next, where do I need to be? And you just had me straight in this zone ever since I walked in the room. So
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I mean, it's really a beautiful energy you've got in this space.
Thank you very much.
To share, I came in between you, so you guys were doing a meditation. So I tried to be quiet. I came in and I had no idea, of course, what we were doing. I just came in. So I sat down and I asked, let me get into the middle of whatever they're meditating for, and my heart just kind of flew open, and this energy came in, and it was like, so like you're saying, right there, for the rest, I don't know what you were doing, but I mean, the energy that came, and that just really shifted.
No, thank you. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that's so fun with this is that it's not about this, it's about this, and dropping into that sense of when that whole phrase about God is love. I mean, that's where I end up, and man, it's a sweet place to land and to share that. So thank you very much. Yeah. And it's just like. Yeah, I think sometimes we try to depend on this so much, and you can walk in. It's like when you hear that thing or the comment about it's not how people what they say, it's how they make you feel. And if I can transmit that, I mean that's definitely I feel very honored. Thank you. See, there we go. You can see why I'm a happy man. I got 2 more kids at home. They're brilliant and beautiful and loving, and yeah, so a blessed man. Thank you. Unless anybody else have any comments or anything? Okay, great. Okay.